start recording. I apologize if y'all can hear any of the construction noise. There's been like this low squeaking sound of something going on over there. I have no idea what it actually is, but I've just been hearing it for the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hours. So we okay, so we're starting off the first league with some Sultai FrogTide, trying out new modern potential staple standard all-star Rakshasa's bargain. It's 3 mana or 6 mana total, 2 in a black hybrid, 2 in a green hybrid, 2 in a blue hybrid. So you can pay a black mana or you can pay 2 of any color. I know a lot of people haven't played the Scarecrow cards from like Shadowmoor before, so might not be familiar with all the hybrid options. But going Sultai, so we don't have to pay the 2, hopefully. But if an emergency pops up, we can. It's a 3 mana or 6 mana instant. Look at the top 4 cards of your library, put 2 of them into your hand, the rest into your graveyard. So card advantage, we know, has never been like one of Demir's strong suits. Bargain might give the ability to kind of help that out a little bit. You get to dig 4 instead of just the top 2 like you would with Archmage's Charm. The ability to know what the cards you're getting are kind of gives it an edge over Sauron's Ransom. It's instant speed instead of sorcery like Stock Up. So kind of hoping it'll be a little more impactful than the other options that have been around. The rest of the deck is our kind of standard Dimir FrogTide shell. The bargains are in place of the 3rd and 4th counter spell, and it was like the 3rd, 4th counter spell and the Harbinger in the main to go Sultai. Yeah, it doesn't draw against Bowmaster, which is nice compared to like Brain Surge. But because it's an instant over Stock Up, I really wanted to go hard in on the instant speed game plan, the flash game plan. So that's why we're playing the Considers over the Preordains, cut back on some Thought Seizes, got like the full 4 Bowmaster, Counterspell, 3/3 Subtlety Force, all the normal flash stuff. In the sideboard, I didn't want to get too crazy with the green splash, so I've just got 2 Collector Oof to help with the affinity stuff popping up, and Abrupt Decay because the last time we played Sultai it was really good. Like I said earlier, I recognize that the last time we played Sultai was in a heavy Oculus meta, so Abrupt Decay into opposing Frogs and Oculus was like phenomenal, but I wanted to give it another shot, see how many times I wanted to see it and wanted to board it in, and then we could adjust from there. Otherwise, I figure Harbinger is pretty safe in this build because even if I leave Bargain in, I can just pay the generic mana instead of having to have the green or the black or whatever. So that's about all I got. Let's jump in, see what happens. Just all elementals and force 2. About the Bargain, yeah, it does pitch to stuff pretty well. Wrong deck. Sure. But I do have like a few options kind of on the docket today. I've got this one. We talked about Winter Moon yesterday, so I put a list together with like an extra basic to try out Winter Moon. And I put together a Hollow Merc Siege list, which I'll read that one in a minute, but it's really funny the number of like applications that card could potentially have. So I want to try it out in the league and just kind of see what happens. We're going to keep our 7 with some cantrips. Opponents mulliganing down to 5 already. Down to 4. Pretty good for our frog if we can land it on turn 2. Was that card? Are you talking about the Hollow Merc Siege? I'll bring up Siege. This is Hollow Merc Siege. Black and a green for an enchantment. When it enters, you choose Sultai or Abzan. If you choose Sultai, whenever a counter is put on a creature you control, draw a card. Only triggers once per turn, but it does trigger once on your turn, once on your opponent's turn. And then the Abzan side, whenever you attack, put a 1/1 counter on target attacking creature. It gains menace until end of turn. More for the Sultai side than the Abzan side, but some of the implications here is it says counter. It doesn't say like +1/+1 counter or anything specific. It just says counter. So, for example, with Psychic Frog, discard a card, draw a card. Do it on your turn, then do it again on your opponent's turn. With Murktide Regent, Murktide enters and then the counters are placed on it. So if you have a Hollow Merc Siege out when you cast your Murktide and you exile at least one instant or sorcery, you get a trigger off that. Malcolm gets chorus counters when it attacks. So you hit them, you can stack your triggers to draw a card off the Hollow Merc Siege and then resolve your Malcolm trigger. Or no, you can't do that because the chorus trigger is going to go on, or it's all one ability, I think. But either way, you get to draw a card. Kaito. When you put Kaito on the battlefield, when you ninjutsu it or just cast it, it enters and then the counters are put on it. It enters as a creature on your turn. You draw a card off Hollow Merc Siege. So if you just like tick up your Kaito on your turn, you draw a card. Discard one of these considers. Start helping our clock out a little bit. I think I'm just going to jam the Murktide here. I know it's only a 5/5, but I can always do it later. I think I'm going to tap out to keep a card in the yard for Frog. 2 mana do nothing a lot of the time. It depends. We got a lot of stuff that can get counters, and the fact that you get to draw a card off just casting a Murktide or like playing out a Frog and discarding. I'm assuming this is Amulet. Feel dumb asking, but Kaito can pick up Oculus token, right? Then you just get the card. Yeah. Not like a face down manifest token. It's an actual card. Okay, so opponent has committed to this. Is there any way I kill them? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 12, 13, 14, 15. So no. Not kill, so I'm just going to go with push the construct, get in the damage. I'll discard the Bowmaster, actually. Eight. And to ditch the Frog. Buying Sultai Frog for the season. This is literally the first time I've played Sultai this season. I don't think I'm on anything yet. Got the scape. Crack sometimes. Is this a Hollow Merc Siege joke? And bounce some lands. Titan, Cultivator, Colossus. Well, Cultivator, no. All for playing bad cards, same. All I want to do most of the time. Everybody's always out here like, why aren't you playing the good cards? I don't know. Play the good cards like every day. You got to give me one of these at least once. Sabowmaster pretty mid. Dismember mid. Push mid. Bring in Stern Scolding for like another push or something if I want. Kind of got just so many cards I don't want here. Got these like Spreading Season for Eldrazi. They're definitely coming in here. The Vigor. You ever known an Amulet player to like not have the turn one Amulet? Just get bored and say, you know what, this game, or I guess they didn't have it game one. It was like talking trash for no reason. Spelunking, not spelunking. All right, so they could have a Titan this turn. At least this subtlety gives me a bit of protection. Remember when MJ didn't score 45 points? Well, except last game. Don't count last game. Just that one didn't happen. See on Twitter where Carl Sarup asked if anyone has ever actually beaten Boros while on Frog. I did not. Also, don't know who that is. Don't blame me. How does this work? It's like every time Dryad Harbinger comes up, I end up Googling it because I forget how it works from the last time. But I think everything should just be islands. There's like a backwards onion. Not forwards onion. Frog too, because it's not getting cast. Or I might just do that. I think I'm just going to do that. Pass. Then on their upkeep, I'll go for get some land guess breeding pool technically. Fatal push. King is fine. Bigger is fine. I don't want force. It's probably better than a random card, but it also just like pitches to stuff. I guess it's fine if they dismember on their turn. I just don't really see a world where they dismember on their turn if they have one. Like, I am shocked. I am shocked you were flame rifted. What I did there because they took 4. What are the odds? Never mind. I was gonna ask what the odds are that their last 2 cards are Bounce Land Titan. But apparently me like thinking about my decision was a little more than they wanted to deal with. I'm 97% sure I would subtlety here. Just subtlety off of the frog. Untap, hit him again. Stern scolding the Aftermath Analyst if they put it back on top. And then like hold up counterspell from now until the end of the game, but yay. Anyone who plays Oculus, do you play 3 or 4? I would only play 4 Oculus. Like every time I see somebody playing an Oculus list and they like cut down on Oculus or cut down on Unearth or cut on Thought Scour or something like that, all I can think is like you're taking away the unfair element of Oculus. And if you're taking away that, like the consistency of the unfair plan, why are you playing Oculus? If you don't want to play that unfair element and want to play like everything else, why not just play FrogTide in the place of Oculus? Like the bigger, harder to deal with, fair costing threat. All right. I think I'm going to go Dismember on their upkeep. I don't want to play Dismember into potential force right now. I could just let them go to combat since I've got the spell snare for a counter spell. Probably fine. This also kind of looks like I just want to surveil land here. Get the time walk there. I don't know exactly what they're on, but I'm going to assume Fatal Push has got some text. We've seen Ragavan. We got Bush. Yep. I think grabbing Breeding Pool there is better for the bargain. I don't really want to take the extra damage right there. I don't even know how big this Murktide was. That was bad. I should not have subtlety there. Should have just gone to my turn and dismembered. I was busy thinking about the breeding pool line. No, the breeding pool, I need a third land anyway. So, like, getting a breeding pool right there doesn't help me until I get a third land regardless. So, it's kind of whatever. Any consideration for dismembering that instead? That's why I said I should have looked at what size the Murktide was. Said something about it right after. So yes, there was a consideration. Yes, I should have. Yes, I acknowledge I made that mistake. No fatal or no force negation. Grixis Shadow. I'm just gonna let this frog or Ragavan hit. I could try to fetch and put something bad on top, but I don't really want to fetch and like see something good and not be able to do anything. Have to bin it. Sure. Gotta hit that, let you have the Ragavan. Subtlety. I have another land that could just hard cast that. Funny, what's up? Yeah, it's Grixis Shadow, and I punted pretty bad earlier. Another Murktide. Okay, I really need a Murktide off the top. It was a pretty bad punt because right now, if I had just dismembered, I would have had that Rakshasa's bargain to resolve. Plus, still had a subtlety, and that would have been a really big difference maker. I can't say it would have won the game, but it would have been a lot of cards that would have been filtered out of the way or would have been different. I think my only out is like a bigger Murktide than they've got. Don't think dogs will like those cards either. To be fair, there was like an island in there somewhere, so a little water wouldn't be upsetting to the dogs. Got Golding for Ragavan and Frog. We've got a Harbinger for the 3-color I want to shock myself a lot deck. Kaito, Abrupt Decay. Force is pretty mid. Thoughtseize pretty mid. Timber's pretty mid as well, but gotta keep something. Probably like trim a subtlety. Maybe trim a subtlety, trim a dismember on that. Okay. Playing Gloom Lake instead of Catacombs here, because if they play a Frog, I'd rather just push it now. Where if I play the Catacombs and they play a Frog, I have to give up my Surveil land to push. Assuming Stern Scolding, Spell Snare, something. Take that trade-off. I will hit you for 1. Want to play triple Death Shadow after another fetch? We'll see what happens, but that does not a triple Death Shadow make. Pretty all right. Gold pre-ord easy. Top with the preordain. 1. Really can't tell if they have a Bowmaster or like trying to represent counterspell. Really care about that. Play out a 5/5 FrogTide. But it does nothing. So I to assume that they've got a copy of FrogTide Regent in their hand. Either way, with all these fatal pushes and whatnot, I'm pretty happy playing the draw go game. Boo. Boo. That just auto-resolved. Get another Bowmaster and Full Snare. Dark Slick Shores right on time. Oh. Stock up who? Stock up not me. Fine. I wonder if they just have like a handful of stubborn denials. Pretty funny. Get to find out pretty quick. Like, not the case. Push, sure. This would have triggered Hollow Merc Verge or Hollow Merc Siege. That's all I'm saying. I think we're just jamming FrogTide here. Flash in Subtlety and have lethal threats with the Subtlety of the Orc army. And they just like tap all the way out for FrogTide. We can Subtlety. Is there anything that I learned game 2 that changes up my plan for game 3? I don't think they're on Bowmaster. But they just had like 6 cards in hand. Couldn't fight over Spell Snare. Didn't fight over Bowmaster. Might have had more fatal pushes. Might have had Dismember. They didn't want to cast on the token, but they were passing full turns without doing anything. I have no idea what they had. On the draw can be better than Counterspell. Against like exactly turn 1 Ragavan, yeah. But I do just have 5 answers to 4 Ragavan, so I don't want to go like crazy. But Dismember is bad against Shadow, bad against Frog, and bad against FrogTide. And I've seen all of those. Could board out like a bargain. How it is. All right, this is a hand that loses to a turn 1 Ragavan, beats a turn 2 Frog. Looks like they've got the Ragavan. Oh no, sweet. All right, way better, way better. Top 1, bottom. They've shown expressive iteration, so I'm pretty happy to have these L snares. A little crazy with the bargains. I also really don't like that. I understand that they're a shadow deck. Obviously, we've played a lot of shadow on the channel, but I don't really care for just like fetching and shocking for no reason when you've got a matchup that's gonna go pretty long anyway. Canister coming in with a raid. Thank you, thank you. Welcome everybody from Canister's stream. Hope y'all are having an awesome afternoon. We're playing through some Sultai FrogTide with Rakshas's Bargain. I have no idea how this card's going to do, but it's been sweet so far. Hope you all are having a good day. Hope the stream went well. I think I saw you were in the challenge earlier. Playing against some Grixis Shadow. It doesn't seem to be taking a lot of actions. Guess I might as well get a swamp and fire off one of these bargains. They haven't shown any sign of Bowmaster yet, so until I see it, I'm not really expecting it. Blue, green, black. Counterspell this. Kind of like just Bowmaster push. Definitely want Bowmaster. Yeah, just take Bowmaster push. Like they shocked in that Watery Grave on turn 2 pretty aggressively. So I'm going to assume that they've got a shadow in hand that they're trying to set up for. If that's the case, and I think having like the safety net of the push is a little bit better. Go for the Harbinger. So it's pretty unlikely that this Harbinger is resolving and surviving. I think I'll try to set up a little bit. Have like a flash in Bowmaster turn or something. Thought sees. Sure. They might just have to take the Harbinger if they don't have a better answer. Pedro, what's up? Hope you're having an awesome afternoon. Take the other bargain. I'm a little bit surprised at that since, like, I just surveilled to the top. So it's pretty low likelihood that I'm going to go for the bargain right here. It's already evening over there. It's like a bright and sunny 2:53 p.m. here. But this also might be a spot where we can get Harbinger down. You have a red removal spell. I have not seen a red removal spell yet. Could be Dispute. Like, we're going for the Harbinger. We have FrogTide plus Counterspell. I got nothing. I'm not really sure what opponent's plan was there. Like, if you didn't have an answer for the Harbinger, I don't really get not taking the Harbinger and just leaving the bargain. But it kind of feels like whatever their sideboard plan was just like a little off base, because game 2 they died with what, 6 cards in hand. Then game 3 there they died with 5 and like didn't really interact with much. So not entirely sure. Yeah, going Sultai for Rakshas's bargain with this first league. We've cast 2 or 3 times now. It's looked pretty solid. Being the instant speed compared to stock up has been a really big deal. So I've liked that. Like was mentioned earlier, it not saying draw a card is cool into Bowmasters. Saw Dingo play that in Froculus. Yeah, somebody said Dingo was playing Sultai yesterday. Green Splash doesn't seem cumbersome really so far. It's not when it's like that really light Green Splash. It can get kind of problematic when you start trying to like main deck 10 green cards, then play Endurance or something out of the sideboard. But when it's just like that really light, light little splash, it's kind of fine. Love me some Sultai. Nah, it's solid. We're calling it solid from now on. It's a touch of green. It's a touch of green. Little green drip. Salt Bay of green. In the blind. Plan on going for a Surveil land here. And get Watery Grave if I absolutely need to fire off Fatal Push. Sultai Oculus made top 4 in today's challenge. Did it really? Need to check and see when the matchup data goes up. When the deck lists go up. Prepping for the Death Ride unban. Just like last time, we were so sure it was happening and just have the metaphorical rug pulled out from under us. Already up. Hold up. Sultai FrogTide. Bargain, Grist. Consider, Scour. A lot of one-ofs. Is I wonder what they played against. Like, Grist is one. I like Grist as a card, but when I played it in the Unearthed Shell previously, it felt like the Murktide Mirror was literally the only matchup that I ever wanted Grist. And so I'm always hesitant to like go back and consider it as an option. Just like not the thing I want to be doing against any of the unfair decks. I like it. I want Grist to be good. Maddie, thank you so much for the follow. Hope you're having an awesome afternoon or evening, morning, whatever time it is, wherever you're at in the world. Okay, so I don't really care about the Ragavan. This might be trying to set up for like Ragavan plus Ocelot Pride. Like, if I don't kill the guide here, they gain the life off the Ragavan, resolve the Pride, then get the extra energy and would have a chance to trigger it. I think I'm just going to Fatal Push this. Let the Ragavan resolve. See where we go from here. Hold it. Hold it. Part of me wants this subtle RKDS. Thank you so much for the follow as well. Hope you're having an awesome afternoon. I want to subtlety this. I still kind of feel like I shouldn't. Like I should wait. Maybe take a hit off this stuff and see if I can bargain into something relevant. Might be a little greedy. But if I can bargain into like Frog plus Bowmaster or something and be able to kill the Ocelot Pride, get a Frog down, get a Murktide down, something like that, have Force Subtlety to protect, then I feel like I'm in decent shape. Thank you for all the content. Really appreciated. Well, I'm glad that it's good for you. All right. So response to this Ranger Captain, we're going to go for the bargain. See what we hit. You hit a couple removal spells, so that's a plus. It's subtlety, the Ranger Captain. Just getting another Ocelot Pride. Not the worst deal. I feel like I need to save this subtlety. The green is for the bargain in the main, and then it's for the collector oofs and abrupt decay in the sideboard. So it is a really, really light green splash. Decides to go for a Guide of Souls. They have like a Spyro here. That'd be pretty unfortunate. I'm really trying to just set up in case I top deck a FrogTide. Father. Frog doesn't feel particularly good. We're just going to pass with subtlety. Are we ever going to drop these subtleties? We should. But again, like we had a game earlier against Titan in round 1 or something where opponent went for escape shift off like a single amulet and immediately cast a Titan, and we just got to subtlety the Titan and win the game. They just sacked all their lands to like a Lotus Field and a couple bounce lands. So games like that, you're like, oh, subtlety is amazing. You have games like this where you can't really afford the 2-for-1 on yourself, and have nothing. We have death. We have go to game 2. Is bargain the real deal? I don't think you can tell after 2 games, unfortunately. I would love to say, yes, we've solved the meta in our 2 games with Rakshasa's bargain, but alas, I feel that's an impossible assumption for us to make. I always want to find room for like a Kaito in this matchup. Subtlety. Subtlety looked pretty rough. Subtlety is so good when it comes down to Flage escaping, but really, really bad against a lot of the other stuff. Great. Feel good. It feels better than Stock Up or like Sauron's Ransom or Brain Surge, if those are our comparisons. Take a little bit of damage here. Watery Grave to push this Ragavan, untap. Flooded Strand for Island for Frog. Have our double blue for Counterspell going forward. Because I've got the second frog, if they point any sort of removal spell at this one, I'm not countering it or not discarding to the frog. I think I'm just going to pass through here. They showed us Ranger Captain and Fable of the Mirror Breaker. So I think I just like don't want them establishing a board presence because I'm just kind of waiting for Static Prison to give me my frog back. That is fine. A little less so. Three cards in hand. Bond with Consider, see if we find a counter. Fortunately, we do not. Do attack with the Guide of Souls. Surprised by that one. Are we playing around another copy? We're playing around any copies of like Discharge or something. Like we could just put the Orc army in front. They don't kill the Bowmaster. That's pretty surprising. Guess they didn't want the token attacking on the way back. FrogTide with a counter spell. Hope that's good enough. No to that one. So Johnny can 0-3 ball us. Am I missing something here? They've got one card in hand, so they can't have land something else. They've used the Ajani. Gonna block. I I got nothing. Had brain games. Apparently. Alright, so one card in hand. If I play out this frog and the last card's a flage, I'm gonna feel really bad. But if it's not a flage, I'm gonna feel like a genius. Flage plus arena. Okay. The Stuper's pretty good. How close are we to end of turn kill range? I go Sink, Static Prison, untap, discard the frog is 6, 7, 8. Exile, counterspell, sink is 9, 10. So we could kill if we top deck a non-creature spell. But I don't think that's worth giving up the sink for, since they are just like dead in 2 turns. Dead in 2 turns, and I have Sink into Stupor to answer a good chunk of stuff, like a Flage off the top. But if I had another instant or sorcery, I would go for the kill there. Ragavan. He was dead there, wasn't he? He was dead if we knew we were drawing a non-creature spell off the top. Or drawing an instant or sorcery off the top. If we didn't know that, we would just be using Sink into Stupor to buy a turn or to get a big attack in, and they could untap and Static Prison back down our Murktide. If we had known we had an instant or sorcery, then we could have discarded whatever we drew, the instant or sorcery, have the Sink into Stupor. So dumb in my head, Frog had haste. You have no idea how many times I wish that Frog had haste. Hadn't been true yet, but one of these days. Kind of want to just bring in some number of Harbinger. I don't think Harbinger is nearly as good against Boros as it used to be, but especially on the draw, I feel like it's a little bit better. Kind of stall out the first few turns, land a Harbinger, pray. An opponent attempted to cycle Lorien through Ashiok, and after that didn't work, he wastelanded himself with Field of Ruin through the very same Ashiok. That attack had similar vibes. Harsh. Probably somewhat accurate, but harsh. Old Goblin Bombardment. Cast any of the new Charm card. You mean, did we cast Rakshasa's Bargain yet? Yeah, we've cast it a few times. Pretty solid. Not going as far as saying, like, oh my god, it's the best thing ever. Why are we not playing 20 of these? But it's been solid. Out and buy 45, you say? That is exactly what I did not say. When an F6ing through Goblin Bombardment. Aren't we playing 4 of them? 4 seemed a bit much. Maybe I'm wrong, but 4 just seemed like a tad too many. Too late. TCG player order 45 bargains has been bought. Really want a frog, but I feel like it's better than a random draw. My frog getting prisoned. Frog has done nothing wrong. Gotta remind the chat that Mike was initially mad on the frog god himself. So if he says bargain is decent, I'm buying that shit out so hard. I was mad on the play patterns involved with frog. It wasn't so much that I was mad on the frog itself. Just like, it's a weird card to play efficiently. And puts a Johnny on top of their library. Guess I'm going. I want to surveil because I'd like to know if I can draw or find like a counter spell or a stern scolding spell snare, something for this Ajani. I want to up the chances. What happens if they flip a Johnny? They go play a Johnny, get the token, stack the token is 1, zero a Johnny is 2 more, up to 3. Sack the guide, sack the token is 5. My FrogTide is currently a 6. So that does not stop a Johnny, unfortunately. In you. Sell a few cards because I wanted to make sure I get this attack in. Spell Bomb doesn't really do anything. Going the bluff route. Cycling the Spell Bomb do anything for me here? Like, would... I guess I can currently save Frog. I'd probably rather see... I can't cycle it this turn, so this is fine. How's the green splash today? Well, we're currently 2-0. A little bit better about the Spell Bomb, at least. Got it. Frog is dead AF, son. Could be an interesting game if we like sink into stupor. Put the Johnny on top, right? I'm not crazy here. Puts a Johnny on top of their library. Yeah. Johnny is on top. I think I'm going to go off the assumption that they have not drawn another land. And just think into stupor the Ajani. I could sink into stupor the Goblin Bombardment, but I can't stop it on the way back down. Sink into stupor the Ajani. Hopefully this turn we can subtlety and just be staring at lethal. Best case scenarios, they top deck something like a Ranger Captain or a Flage and just go for that. Subtlety back on top. They have this static prison. Get out of here. What a back and forth game. This has been a slugfest. Johnny, attempt 7. All right, now attack. Attack, you coward. I don't think it's worth giving up my subtlety here. Like trading my subtlety for a bowmaster. My FrogTide back. So ready for a Spyro. I was so ready for a Spyro. Okay. They go up to 7. An Ocelot Pride. Ooh. Read. How to shoot this. I know they can sack the Ocelot Pride. Don't get the token. Go to 6. What happens if I flash in this other Bowmaster? I put them down to 5. They have to block a flyer, take a flyer. So they're still alive. But they're dead if I find any removal spell. I don't think it's worth putting them down to 1. So attack all out. Block Murktide. Block Bowmaster. Take 4. Yeah. It's down to 1 card. Just need a frog, a bargain, another Murktide. This happened to me the other day too, where I was like right at the cusp of ending up a game and just kept drawing into spell snares. No, stop it. Are they just dead now? They just kill themselves? I say kill themselves. I just mean like they have to sack off something to kill one of these unblocked creatures. And that is kind of good enough for me. Sorry, you're right. Unalive themselves. Guess they can do the exact same thing next turn and stay alive another turn. Stay undead another turn. But this means that they're stacking off their guide to kill my orc army, so I still have a subtlety flying in. Or we just draw that. Ah! Ah! Alright. Who was talking trash earlier on Twitter saying that Frog can't beat energy? Just have to draw 2 snares and a counter spell. It's easy. That's all I draw, clearly. What a back alley scrap fight with sharpened toothbrushes. We're just shanking each other back and forth. Frog versus Orzhov, that one is hard. Frog versus like the Aether Vial Orzhov match is just about impossible. Frog versus like the Relic Ketramos match is still unfavorable, but it's closer to like 40-60. Where Aether Vial is like 1585 or like 2080. That was just unbearably bad. That's one of those, like, just hope you dodge it matchups. Opponent mulliganed. Last seen 22 days ago on Black White. I hate all of you in chat who said verse Orzhov. What's your opinion of the Black White deck? Feel like it fell out of favor a bit. I think the Relic version is a lot worse than the Aether Vial version. I get that people want to play Ketramos, but I don't think they want to accept that like Ketramos is still a very slow, grindy value engine in a format that just like doesn't take too kindly to slow value grindy engine. You know what I mean? Resolve is just a bad deck. I don't know if I'd say it's bad. It just lacks the unfair factor. Like the unfair part of your deck is looping Solitude, which is really, really good against a deck like ours. But there's so many things in Modern that just don't care about that at all. So you're like, I'm going to loop my Solitude, and your opponent's like, I'm going to cast Primeval Titan and just kill you. But congratulations, you've got a looped Solitude. I can't take that away from you. Okay. Been testing Spike's Ketramos, Mardu Ketramos deck for that exact reason. It's more proactive version. Right. Like, Flage gives you something kind of unfair-ish. That's cool. An RCQ this Saturday. I have SpongeBobby counterspells and Twisted Spoon fatal pushes. Do I run those versions or the weak ass regular ones? The weak ass regular ones? Harsh. I'm just gonna pass with subtlety here. I want to resolve Thought Thieves, but the not having double black feels kind of bad in case they have exactly this. Ophelia. And since they had open mana, I'm gonna fatal push on their upkeep instead of going to their going through their turn. I don't want to fatal push on my instep because if they have Ephemerate, they get to attack with Felia on their turn. Something I don't really want to deal with. Hmm. Don't really care about Flicker Wisp. Hmm. Like the best I can do is honestly, I think shadowy Backstreet here. Just blink the Backstreet. I don't think blinking the Witch Enchanter does much. About the Thoughtseize to untap with. Counter the Wisp, you draw Bowman 100%. Well, clearly, it wasn't 100%. Higher. Have the Ketramos, have the Solitude. Get a Frog or a Murktide or something. You have no Enchanter target, so I bet they make it 2/2. There's not really a big reason for them to make it 2/2, though. Like, a 2/2 isn't doing anything in the matchup. And I feel like they would rather find their land drops, like find some more action. Okay. Not bad. Too far in the future. Just dial it back a few turns. My Bowmaster around. Okay. We're talking. Overlord of the Baelmerk. Why did you have to be right now? And like a little sooner, little later. All those turns I've been holding up subtlety. Now you have the Overlord. My Bowmasters. But Solitude, Overlord on top. Overlord or bargain fails miserably. Why didn't you want to bargain before evoking I could, but like, what am I finding off of that that I would rather do over over evoking off the subtlety? Like, am I finding another card that I want to evoke the subtlety off of? Because that doesn't seem like a great use of a bargain. Like, what am I looking for? I have the subtlety. Either I find a counter spell or I don't, but like bargaining before or after doesn't change that. Know that I'm looking for like frog counter spell exactly, and I'm not pitching any of those to subtlety. Back flicker with. I'm a little bit surprised at this. They have Flicker Wisp and chose to evoke the Solitude off of the Ephemerate and stick to the Flicker Wisp in hand. I feel like they would have been better off going for a play that was just like evoke Solitude, Ephemerate it, and then have like that. I feel like the Flicker Wisp in hand is much more of a liability than actively playing something out when I'm like not showing you anything. Definitely doing that. Maybe opponent will be nice and start popping these relics. Right, so risky versus counterspell decks. It is, but like if I had a counterspell, I had so many targets to cast it on by then. So I think you're just assuming I don't have a counterspell at that point. In which case, like the Flicker Wisp in hand, being liable to like a top deck counterspell like we had, or a Thoughtseize or something, just seems a lot more vulnerable. All right. Can't kill them here. I can do a good chunk of damage. If I attack all out, and they, like, if I attack with all three and they block, say, the Orc army, and I fatal push my own Orc army, then I could kill. I think I just have to go for it, right? Like, attack all out. If they block the Orc army, I go to their upkeep, ditch to the frog, exile, they lose a life, I get a Bowmaster trigger. And that's lethal. If they block the frog or the Bowmaster, I fatal push my own guy, and the Orc army token's lethal. So, yeah. Swing. Jump to the frog and jump it. The problem with that line is I have to give up my fatal push. I get through a couple points of damage, but I can't kill. And they've got a Ketchermo swing on the backside. So, like, they're going to get to swing in with Ketchermo, gain the life back, get Overlord back. Like, I need to kill here. I need to not give them time to attack and get something else going. So we go to their upkeep. Bowmaster trigger on the stack. Go to their upkeep. Ha 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 ha. Bowmaster Frog, so good. Easy, what's up? I guess I have enough, like, derpy little 2-drop dudes that decay's kind of fine. Why do they even crack the artifact? My guess is they forgot about the Bowmaster trigger. Like, they needed to stop me from being able to exile to the frog on their upkeep. So they could have been looking for a Solitude. They could have hoped I wouldn't see the line of, like, fetch, double discard. Something along those lines. That was a weird game. Weird game into a weird opener on game 2. I'll keep because I've got an answer to a Bale Merc. Not to nitpick, but there's an even better line, discarding Merc to Frog, put them on 1. They wouldn't even be able to relic. The problem with that is anything that involves not killing them allows them to attack with the Ketchermos. So they gain the life back that I did off the attack. They get Bale Merc at the end of their turn. So, like, I have to kill them there, or I'm opening up the possibility of Ketchermos attack into, like, draw 3 or 4 cards. And I can't afford to do that. Just take the Ketchermos. If I find a 3rd land, I can Frog, hold up Spell Snare for the Prismatic ending. How come when I play Frog, I go 2-3? When Freak plays it, he goes 5-0? Good question that I don't have a good answer for. Freak's back, all right. Any merit in taking the ending and just jamming Frog on 2? I don't think there's a world where I'm jamming the frog onto, because if I take the pending and know about the Ketramos, then like all it takes is a third land and I have no answer to it. But they're just drawing like crazy at that point. Are people prismatic ending for 3-year frog? We'll see. A prismatic ending for 3, then I wait a turn and I play second frog. Railed a card to the top. Got it. Here is another frog. That's pretty good. Get back a Felia. Pretty okay with that. Why not snare that? Because Magic's a stupid game and they give us all these new busted cards with old busted cards then that aren't busted now. Life sucks. The only answer I can give for you. Saying life sucks and then you die. We could Relic of Progenitor, Abrupt Decay, a Relic of Progenitus. Like, not where I want to be, but the line is there. Probably just ditching this Abrupt Decay to the frog. How disappointed are you in me for that non-crab trophy yesterday? I didn't get to see the end. I didn't know you trophied, but now very. Now extremely disappointed. You have brought great shame and dishonor on your family. Felt so good, but it was dishonor. Honor can't feel good. We need to get the game over. Um, Much as this pains me, I think I have to discard a counter spell. Or I could just discard, like, counter spell subtlety. Subtlety and hope that they go for something here. Does feel wrong. I hate it as much as everybody else, but well, I want to keep the sub because I really want to get an attack in with it. Like, it dealing damage feels worth a bit more than it just getting discarded for a single counter. Had to be the push right then and there. I wouldn't say I'm done if they have push or solitude. Like, it's not great for me, but done is a bit of a stretch. Seeing some list playing one Children's Edict over Dismember recently. Wasn't sure what they'd want to edict, but beyond not costing 4 life, pretty much the not wanting to pay the 4 life. Like, Dismember, the idea behind Dismember was it solves 2 problems. It lets you kill an Imri or a Tameo on turn 1 out of Breach, and it lets you kill a Ketchermos. Now we don't have to deal with Imri or Tameo anymore, so they're just looking for, like, the less painful way to deal with Ketchermos. Kaito! Just not a card that I want in most matchups. And that's really how I approach deck building, is like, is this a card I actively want? More often than not, if yes, more likely to keep it. No, more likely to push it aside. All right, opponent last seen 4 days ago, Boros Energy, which this is clearly not. So now that I've drawn a Gloomlight Verge, I'm pretty interested in just going for Thoughtseize here. Splash green for Eldrazi. Splash green for a basic forest. No plays. All right, who's ready for main deck Veil of Summer? Who's got it on their bingo card? Ooh. Temple, Lab, Malevolent Rumble. Is this a cast trigger? It is. Every stupid thing in this deck is a cast trigger. I am really glad that I made the call before this league started, or before this match started, that we were 100% going to play against Eldrazi this game. Do you like the Sultai stock up? Don't remember the name of the card. We're playing it this league. It's been fine so far. I wouldn't go as far as saying, like, great. Let's speak of the devil. Go away. Go away. Oh. I really need to get the game over with. I'm highly considering just ditching my entire hand and saying, like, if you got a devourer off the top, you got a devourer. But lose to Devourer, K Command, all his dust. I mean, that pretty much covers everything we lose to, but like, I can't do anything about losing to any of those, right? The thing has merge. Sure, yeah. That plan doesn't do anything for me. Hit him with the frog, draw a card. Play that out so we can stop Kozilek's command and pray. Pray to a higher power that we've got a chance. They've already played their land for the turn. So they're going to get this effect. We're going to sink into stupor this thing. Go to our turn. Discard whatever we draw to frog. Frog. Frog, so good. Make bad matchup winnable. Never doubt in the power of the frog. The frog giveth, and the frog giveth some more. The frog never taketh away, because the frog is a kind and generous overlord. Cutting all the bargains, just like a little slow. Bad. I'm gonna keep some bowman regardless, but like, I don't want to overkeep a bunch of bowmen. Bargain. Why don't I cut push? Because we saw like the chrysalis, and I need to keep something in to keep that off the battlefield. Push isn't great, but it's got like one specific job of chrysalis. I could cut another push, but there's not really anything else I'm excited about. Maybe I can keep one more bowman over a push. extra +1/+1 counter on frog. You cannot argue with that. I think Scolding could replace Snare in the next meta. A lot of depends on that. Like, if we see Boros really jump out in popularity, then maybe. I would love to force this, but I don't think there's anything in my hand I want to give up to force it. I'm going to feel really bad if they just go like Temple 4-drop, but have to. Bright side is they did put this second temple on the stomping ground. They should have put it like shocked in the stomping ground, cast it, put it on the forest. Because now if I get to Harbinger, it just falls off. I hope to time walk this turn. Get like a couple opportunities to kind of time walk and hopefully find a third land. But they also chose blue for both of these sprawls. So if I land Harbinger, I cut them off red mana. Cool. Two. Mystical dispute me. We gotta just jam the Harbinger here. I feel bad for these collector oofs, but there's a much better chance of getting me somewhere. They have the Dismember right away. Aim. How does Sultai feel? I'm like, it's really hard to make how does it feel judgments with Sultai, because at the core, like, you're just Dimir. So 95% of the deck feels no different than what the stock Dimir shell looks like. Just like these little, oh, you got Rakshasa's bargain in the deck. Do they even play any talismans? No idea. I assume they do, but if they don't, then I shouldn't have Collector Oof in. But I don't think I can really go up against Eldrazi and not assume they have them. Right? Okay. I don't think there's any benefit to main phasing that. Four, five, six. Solves, you say? Thoughtseize. Bargain better than ransom. Maybe. It's like the first league that I've played it, so I really don't know yet. Hard to make a judgment when you've only cast the card like 3 times. All right, we're gonna jam an oop here. Try to speed up the clock. Hope our opponent doesn't do anything scary. Okay. Said nothing scary. Those are my words. 5, 6, 7, 8. Not enough for Harrogast, is it? At a 9 drop. It's just a big Kozilek's command. Yeehaw. Yeehaw. Love to see that. All right. Play that out. Play our second oof out. Hope we can dodge something scary for 1 turn. Go. Good. So good with our Grizzly Bear Collector oofs. You love to see it. All right. Let's do a little breakdown of the deck. Little follow up for the YouTube enjoyers out there. How we doing? We just trophied that league with little Sultai, so I guess pretty good, right? What did we think? Rakshas's bargain I thought was pretty good. I don't know if anybody in chat saw something like greatly different than what I saw, but I felt like outside of that one time we hit triple land fatal push, we did hit like relevant stuff every time we cast it. We did get to like hold up, or I don't know if we really bargained any turns that we were holding up interaction. I think it was always like, here's a bargain towards the end of our hand, cast it. Oh, it found a couple things, sweet. But that's all you can really ask out of your big 3-mana cantrip, right? The core of the deck still felt really good as always. We saw Bowmaster pick up wins against like the Tetramos deck. We got to take down Energy. We got to take down Eldrazi, take down like all the big players, Amulet, a bunch of big decks in the format. Spell Snare continues to be like a card I either absolutely need to see or despise horribly. So I'm probably going to try next league, whatever we play, with like cutting the 3rd Spell Snare. Harbinger, great out of the board. Consign, great. Collector, we found like the one Eldrazi player that wasn't playing Talismans. But Oof still great. Kaito, great. Corrupt Decay, Spellbomb, like whole sideboard for the most part is great. Yeah, I don't know. I'm definitely interested in playing Bargain again. I do think I liked it a lot more than Stock Up. And I'd say I liked it more than Sauron's Ransom. Zach, thank you so much for the follow. Hope you're having an awesome afternoon. Yeah, pretty cool league there. Happy with that.